And voila. Hey everyone. Dr. Yam is in the house. All right. So we are working on lesson 10. And so let me get this a little bit better for you guys. All right. So we're in lesson 10. Lesson 10 is really going to be focusing on the launch of your business and what are we really talking about and taking you through some of those steps. So, as you can recall, we've been building up for the past 9 lessons and getting all the thinking parts, all of the moving pieces and parts, all of the steps that are necessary for you to get to the point where you can actually start to launch your business. And as you can see from what we've covered so far, it's not a heavy lift. You just need to know the critical pieces and parts so that you will have um, the comfort level and the confidence level and your information all gathered. Once you know what you're doing, it makes it a whole lot easier, don't you think? So why don't we get right into your launch starts here. So what we're talking about in this particular case, guys, give me 1 second. I want to make sure my screen is doing what it's supposed to do. All righty. So let's get into it. So when we're thinking about your launch day, what we're really talking about is following the step instructions to launch your launch day is going to be exciting, and you want to have the enthusiasm about getting that product in front of that ideal customer of yours. But in order for you to do that, you may not necessarily be ready today, and that's totally natural. We totally understand. It's not intended that you be ready to launch like tomorrow, because we've been putting all the building blocks in place for you so that you have everything that you need. So, because depending on the type of business that you're starting, if you're starting a service-based business versus a product-based business, each one of those provides a different, or has, as I say, a different set of um, conditions and circumstances that are necessary for you to get that business to be launched. Service-based may be a little on the, I don't want to say easier, but it's the softer side, because most of it is contingent on you, the individual, because you're bringing the services, or you and your team are bringing the services. May require products alongside it, but maybe it may not. And so your launch style and needs may be a bit different. And this is the things that we kind of cover during our one-on-one sessions. But again, you know your niche, you know your market, you know your minimum viable product. And again, it's not intended that you actually are ready to launch today, but you want to get into that mindset of what will your launch day needs look like, and that's what we want to cover. So the idea here is that you're planning for your launch, right? It's you got to have a plan in place. Just like now, you have all the action piece plan parts ready to go. You've done your research, you've done your calculations. And we're going to do some more calculations today, by the way, in the following lessons. So be ready for that. But you've made some choices when it's come to the marketing strategies also in your campaign. You might have determined that everybody that is your ideal customer is not hanging out in the same space, but you want to be hanging out where your ideal customers are hanging out. And you certainly want to know, based on those choices, that what would your plan look like for your actual launch day, because you are going to need a plan itself. So a plan is going to help you to stay on track. It's also going to help you with your marketing efforts as well. So this is the conversation that I just kind of want to have with you, is you want to plan to so that you can stay on track with your marketing efforts. You want to have it as stress-free as possible, and you want to feel more in control and more efficient. And the way in which you're able to do that is writing things down and knowing how you want to go about getting the work done, as well as what are some of the resources or help that you're going to need to get this done. Remember, just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you're going to be doing this by yourself. So having a checklist of things to do will be able to carry out. Also know that for many of you who have when you did do your sign up, you may have also included for the 30-day launch, 30 days to launch additional coaching component. And so if you've added that, then you'll be getting a different set of instructions in addition to what you're getting with this particular one. So do not worry with respect to that. Now, one of the key things is when you're going to launch, right? You want to, this is an old project management, uh, principle. We set a date and we work backwards, because you need to figure out, if you're saying I want to launch in 2 weeks, well, then what is it going to take between now and 2 weeks from now to get it done, and working backwards in order to do that. Now, you also, again, may need to get some help in order to make that happen. That's no, that's totally understandable, because it's your first time and you want to do it right. And that's what coaches are for you having a mentor and being a part of the Jumpstart Your Masterclass mentorship core component is also what was available to you when you signed up for the course. So if you signed up for that, then you're getting the help. We're giving you that hand holding as a part of the 30 days to launch. So you're going to be getting that as well. You can certainly go it alone. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us has done it all by ourselves. And again, you want to also consider using a tool to kind of help you with that planning. So you can simply use a checklist, you can simply use a spreadsheet, but there's some really cool tools out there, and you'll have those links inside of the Jumpstart. There's tools like Trello and Asana or Basecamp, and there's many others. So you'll have those links available to you. In fact, let me see if I can plug those in for you guys. Hold on one sec here. Let me see if I'm able to do that for you. I think I have a link I can pop inside of it. I think I can. Hold on. Yeah, I can share this one link. I personally use Asana as of today, but there's always cool things that are coming out for different tools are always coming out, and then something might, pique my interest and may help me a bit more in my management. But for right now, lots of people use Asana, they're using Trello, and they're using Basecamp, or even Slack rather, for that matter. It's all a matter of preference and what works best for you. So it's a way, not the way. So always know that. Um, let's see what I got here for you guys. Asana. Do I have it? Okay, hold on one second. No, okay, just a regular one. Okay. So we'll just bring that. Let me put the website. So I'll have those links for you inside of the group. I can't bring it up right now for some strange reason, so not to worry. Alrighty. Now, that being said, but certainly get a tool so you can manage your work. There's also tools, maybe if you have your Google Suite, if you've adopted that, then certainly try one of those as well. They're all useful tools, but choose one and just go with it. Don't spend a lot of time picking one. Just pick one and keep moving on. Like I said, I like Asana, and so that might be something that you may choose to use. Okay. Now, so you're picking your date, and again, don't feel, how do I want to say this? I don't want you all to feel as though there's pressure. However, nothing's going to be perfect. So I just need you to know that. You just got to start somewhere, pick a date, and move on. It's not going to, it may not be the perfect launch, but it'll be your launch. You can always reset, you can always improve along the way. So just know that, don't procrastinate. That's what the push and the support is by having a coach and a mentor, is to help you to get past that so you can move on and get into action. Because, hey, end of the day, you want to make some money. You can't make money if you're procrastinating. It's just the way it is. So I do want to encourage you guys to just make sure that you're going to, take that into consideration. So I want you to think of your launch in 3 phases. Your launch is going to consist of a pre-launch, and then there's the launch, and then there's the post-launch. So even when you're thinking about in your worksheets, I want you to think about it in those components. And then there's things that you're going to do in your pre-launch, there's things you're going to do in your launch, and then there's things you're going to do in your post-launch, right? Because the post-launch is kind of like, you know, everyday living and keeping your business running. So what does that include? So when we think about your pre-launch, um, think about, this is where you're telling everybody that you know that, hey, about your business, about your products, and getting them interested. This is why it was important for those of you who had an opportunity, precursor to the Jumpstart Masterclass was the our personal branding, right? And inside of your personal branding is your opportunity to start connecting with people, start dropping those hints, start sharing those expertise, the who you are and what you can do, right? And now you're in that place now where you could use your personal branding to start to drop the seeds for your launch. This is why they're all connected. And so usually about, a month or 2 months out, you start kind of dropping seeds and letting everybody know. And because you don't want to lose any momentum. But even with that said, what will that look like? Do you in 30 days? What would you be telling people up in 30 days? You could be giving them a behind the scenes kind of a exact view of, okay, I'm 30 days out. This is what I'm thinking I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm taking pictures of this. I'm showing people this. My thinking is around this. I'm reflecting. I'm doing these tasks, whatever it is. And you can start to just capture your 30 days to launch type of adventure, and you could be sharing that out. You could be doing your social posts. You could even start just reflecting and blogging. But this is why it was really important that you have that personal branding piece in place, so that you have a space where all this can start occurring, and you can start putting those efforts through that vehicle. So that's what that's about. And it just, again, gives you that time to kind of map things out and give the prep and the dropping of the seeds, which is going to be necessary. Because if you just say on day one, I'm here, that's not going to be enough. You want to start building momentum. You want people to start asking you questions, and you want to get the excitement kind of going. And plus, it keeps you pumped and connected as well um, during that particular phase. So again, create a special launch page. So you could just have that one page that says, I'm coming, we're coming, here's what you can expect, this is what I'm doing. Those are the things. You can, again, start telling your people, give those dates, save the date. You can start putting that information out there in your social media. You can do a press release. You can, again, do another media plan. Anything that is going to help to just further get the word out. And giving people incentives is another cool way as well. And this is also a way that you can start collecting email addresses. You want to say, hey, you want to know when my start date is, or you want to know when I'm going to drop, what the time is, and do you want to be a part of my special day in my event? Give me your email and I'll keep you posted. You can start doing your email list building as well. So keep that in mind by picking a specific, having that launch page is where you can start to collect information as well. So we have some examples for that. And then you could use your MailerLite, what we covered in our bonus session, your MailerLite, you can create landing pages for your special page. See, they're all starting to wrap in together. And again, you can update your page throughout that pre-launch period as well. So keep it real simple, just having that one page, and then you're good to go. And then you can invite everybody over to Ta-da Land, where you're going to have your real business website, and everything's going to be ready and true rock and roll. So here are a couple tips when it comes to thinking before you launch. And the things that you want to keep in mind are check for your ordering system. You want to check your stock levels if you're doing things that are product based. You want to test out your purchasing system. What are you using? If you're using WooCommerce on your website, if you're using Stripe, or you're using a PayPal system, if you are using, I'm trying to think, Square, or any of those, just keep all of those items in mind. You want to test everything out, make sure they are working. And then, of course, you want to set up a sales page, because first thing you want to have is make sure you got a sale coming on. Like, you want to entice people. So what's your sales page going to look like? And again, keeping it simple. Doesn't have to be like 10,000 pages. Just one simple sales page to say, opening day, this is the offer, this is what we got going. If you're trying to just get and giving some, not necessarily free, but you certainly want to give a special and be able to be one of the first, right? Because again, you're doing your promoting. And then you want to redirect them from your launch page to your sales page. So now you'd be able to redirect them once, because they're already accustomed, right? You're building behaviors. That's part of this whole pre-launch area, as you start creating relationships, building relationships, and then start creating the behaviors about how you want your people to behave. And also, if you're starting to do your blog, then you can start to, again, get some posts out there, start thinking about your blog, what topics you may want to have in mind, so that you can have that going as well. And that can also be a part of your pre-launch, talking about it, videoing, writing, whatever your comfort levels. Those are the things you really want to be thinking about. And those are the things that are going to be, again, part of before the launch. Okay, let me just double check with you guys. Alrighty. So you kind of have that in mind. All right. Now, the next thing is phase two, which is the actual launch. So this actually means this is like finally you're opening up your doors to do your business, right? The physical doors or the virtual doors, no matter which format that you're actually looking to do. And so you're gonna be excited. You're gonna have fun. You want to make a really special day. You want to, mark your calendars, get dressed up, get pumped up, pick some music that's like really going to keep you energized for the day. Call all your friends, make sure they all show up. Have a countdown. You know, just make it as fun as possible. You just don't want to try to sneak in the back door. That's not, there's nothing fun about sneaking in the back door. But you do want to make sure that, you got everything kind of lined up. So you want to make sure that, again, you're marketing in the early days of the launch, right, to boost your sales. So this means, sticking to the plan as we work things out, and making sure everything's going along smoothly. Get the help that you need, even on launch day. You might just want to have a virtual assistant or two to kind of help you out with some things. Just to make, I want you to keep track of social media, and another person keep track of the e-commerce, right? Because you cannot do it all for the first couple of days as you're starting to launch your business. So launch is not just a one-day experience. Launch be like a full week. You kind of want to have it like a grand opening, right? When you go to stores, so like grand opening, it's not a one-day grand opening. You may have a one great grand opening event, but your launch is going to be spread over a period of time, not just a one-day thing. You're going to have a kickoff day, or founders day, or whatever you want to call it. There's different opportunities for you to get creative, and giving things out. Of course, you want to be able to give maybe an initial discount, or maybe again, for the first 5 days, you might have a code that you can give, or some type of a bonus offer, right? But don't keep the offer for very long, because again, you want to make it special. You want to build that urgency, that kind of FOMO. And again, stick to making money and stick to your prices. Don't feel desperate. Oh, I didn't make any sales today, I'm gonna have to drop my prices. Don't do it. Don't do it. You came up with your pricing based on a need and a calculation. If you need to change anything, we need to change your marketing. We need to change how you're communicating, but you don't need to change your pricing unless you're totally out of the ballpark. Other than that, you need to stick with what you have. Okay, so don't freak out on me when it comes to that. Okay. And again, get feedback from your customers as you start getting your purchases, particularly those first ones. You want to make sure that how was their experience, reaching out to them, keeping them informed, going by email. Maybe you're using a bot, a message bot, or things along those lines. You have different opportunities, but you want to get your feedback as much as you possibly can. And then there's the post launch. And now in the post launch, again, the sale should be continuing after launch day, right? This is like your day to day starts to get not the same monotonous, but you're really looking for other opportunities where you're going to be promoting, and that comes into your whole kind of marketing plan. Your marketing plan and your content marketing strategies is something that you would have built out, and you get that inside of your bonus package as well. You have a planner that's going to help you to work those things through, so you want to be able to have that. So if everything goes according to plan, then you're just going to continue with everything beyond the launch day or week, or however you're spending, however you want to spend it. Um, you want to check your numbers. How are things going? Are things going? What things are selling? What's not selling? What's going up? What's going back? Do I need to get more inventory? What was the feedback like? You want to kind of watch those metrics that we're going to talk a little bit more about, that we with respect to how you can progress monitor. So you'll hear about that in a minute in the next lesson. But again, keep up the opportunities to promote for the new customers. And then what are you doing for your existing customers? You always got to keep those things in mind. Is how are you looking for those opportunities where you can promote? Could be now's the time. You might be able to get on that podcast. You may be able to do a guest blog. You may be able to be on a Facebook Live with another group, or different followings, or on IGTV. So think about all these different opportunities where you can start promoting and getting in front of other audiences, and then following up with your customers and leveraging the first sale. And then how is it that you can be building those promotions to say, hey, I noticed you bought on my day one, but I got something special for everybody who bought on my day one. So these are the things you could be thinking about, and you can give those type of offers, right? Because you want to keep people connected. And also your communication. So if you're thinking about a newsletter, something that's going to keep everybody informed, as you're collecting those email addresses, you're going to be constantly communicating and having that welcome email campaign. You have a template for that as well. And that's going to keep everybody connected with you. And then how you routinely connecting with them, because you're always going to be promoting something, creating a new product, a new event, something that, not that you have to have 10,000 items, something every new all the time. It's just how you can go about promoting the same products. Maybe it's just a little different, packaging it a little different. Maybe you're partnering with somebody another differently. There's different ways in which you're able to have different opportunities when you're going to be able to promote your products and your services. And then again, you want to do the follow-up and follow the metrics. What's working, what's not working, what's the correlation between the cost and the sales, and how the traffic is coming in. So you'll have those opportunities as well if you got a chance. Also included in the bonus pack, we have a video that talks about Google Analytics and the things that you'll be able to utilize with that as a tool. So think about that. Okay. So, even though we've gone through the theory, put time is to put everything into practice now. Now the rubber meets the road. Time to make action, make it happen. And so thinking about that minimum viable product that you came up with, and you answering those 3 questions. How ready are you to launch? What else do you need to happen so that you can launch? And then how will you achieve that? So this is the things you want to really be thinking about when it comes to launching your business. This is the step that a lot of people make. They think they're started their business. Oh, I started my business last week. Really? Did you? What are you doing? What are you selling? How are you selling? What's the strategy? And people don't have that level of detail. And that's why having a course such as this is so much more insightful for you, that you can be much more prepared for what's to come. So you just want to give some thought to that process, right? Thinking about how ready are you to launch now that we've talked about it. When you look at your minimum viable product, and you know about your ideal customer, and where are they at, and how are you going to best to reach them. So you just want to make sure you want to create that plan and use the worksheets that I've provided for you in the activities, so that you can, through those activity sheets, it's going to help you to create your plan and all the pieces and parts that kind of come along with it. So you'll have that. And I'm going to pull up that sheet in 1 second as well. Let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see if we can pull it up. Well, let's go inside of our Jumpstart, inside of our units. Let me switch over there. Pull this up. Give me 1 second. I know I have to switch screens, so give me 1 second. Unit 5 is where you're going to be. And lesson 10 is the activity sheet you want to be in. And I'm going to pull it up here on my, there we go. I'm going to pull over my screen here and we will share and get you guys up so you can see the tab for your jumpstart. There you go. Okay, so, oh no, I don't want that one. My apologies. I want to just share. That's where you'll find it inside of the Jumpstart class. If you're taking this as an e-course, it's already a link that's you have available in your workbook, and you'll see it there for your lesson itself. However, for my live folk, I'm going to bring it up under Adobe. There we go. Alrighty, so here is your worksheet. So again, answering these critical questions, filling this out, be honest and filling it out and giving the details that you're really going to need to answering these questions. Again, how ready are you to launch your minimum viable product? Do you have everything lined up? If it's a service-based product, do you have an onboarding? How are you providing those services? What's the pricing like? Are you doing it in bulk? Meaning, like, can people buy more than one thing at a time? Do you have any resources and things, or is everything ready so that you can offer it? And then answering the same question: what else needs to happen to get it and you ready for the launch? What help do you need? If you're finding some things that you need help in, then what are those needs so you can make that happen as well? And then how are you going to be able to achieve the expectations that you have and the steps that are necessary to get that ready and going? And then again, here's your pre-launch grid. Type down the things that you need to start for your pre-launch, the steps for your launch, and then the post-launch. Just making a simple list. And again, using an app like Trello or Asana or Basecamp are really useful tools that are going to help you to manage that type of work. So do make sure that you kind of consider going with one of those. I certainly highly suggest it. It's something that I use on a routine basis. It helps me to manage all of my tasks and the work that I work with myself as well as with my team and getting things organized. Let's check over. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So now that you kind of given all that thought to your minimum viable product and all the things that are necessary, and if just doing a real life check, right, reality check, choose your launch day. Don't go too far out. I would say that you shouldn't be anymore at this point in the juncture. I would say you should not be planning for anything more than 2 months from today. Whatever you're doing, no more than the latest possible. So you look at your calendar and you look for 60 days from today. That's the last possible date that you should be putting out for a launch day. You should be able to have your legals, your regs, everything in line, licenses, products, services, materials, everything that you need should be lined up and ready to go no more than 60 days from today. So pick your date, mark it on the calendar, write it on a piece of paper, stick it on the wall, commit to it. That's step one. What questions? If you have any questions, please put them inside of the Facebook group. You can email us. You can direct message me inside of Facebook as well if you have any questions. Again, your quick win is, again, think about that minimum viable product, answer those questions in the guide, and then complete your launch day grid in the action. And then committing things to paper is the first thing that's going to help you to getting accomplish what you need to have accomplished. Okay? Alrighty. Let's go with lesson 11. Lesson 11. Now, in lesson 11, what we're talking about here is tracking your progress. So here, I want you to think about the fact that things are moving along. You've opened up your business. You've got momentum. That's your first goal, is to get that awareness. You're still in awareness, brand awareness levels, okay? And the pre-launch is also for brand awareness. You're still in brand awareness at the very beginning, but as you are opening and as you're working your business, you got to start progress tracking, meaning how are things going and being real, keeping things real, on how are things going. So here we want to just kind of talk through some pieces and part about what does that really involve so that you can be as successful as possible. So in this case too, make sure you have your journals and your pen and paper because we're going to do some math. Okay. So here, the key factor is we want to look at your key metrics, right? We need to know and measure and using data to see how you can improve your business. Now, this is not something that comes easy to a lot of people, and it is a habit. It really, really is. So it's something you're going to have to kind of grow into. So just know that your business is up and running and you've launched, you got your sales are starting to come in. You're making some movement, right? And now you need to progress monitor and making sure and evaluate the successes, what's working, what's not working, and move and according to that as well. And again, nothing wrong with a gut feeling. Things are working. Listen to your customers as well. You want that feedback. That's really important. Again, be as objective as you possibly can. And don't try and kid yourself. If things aren't working, then ask for help and get the help that you need so that you can advance and move on. Everything's not going to be perfect. We know that. So that's what going into business is all about risk, right? But it's all about staying ahead in the game, most importantly. So that's what you really want to start focusing on. So you want to, in this particular lesson, we're really just going to focus on key metrics. How is it that you're going to be able to measure your business improvements and things that you're going to be able to take into consideration? So let's take a look at that. So knowing your key metrics is going to be steps. So here, we're really thinking about getting your business to the next level, right? And you want to be able to find, maybe you're finding new help. Maybe you're going to, I don't want you to ignore ignore the successes. You want to have a keen eye on the successes. But if you don't have a strategic plan, you're going to be lost. So here again, as we think about your goals, right? So if the goal, remember you have an annual goal, then you check it down to your quarterly goals, and then you're going to check it down to your monthly goals. And then you can even check it down to your weekly goals. And then how is it that the things that you're doing are helping you to get to reach and meet each one of those particular goals? So you want to kind of have it along those lines. But we're going to go over what we in the business industry call 7 key metrics to measure. You ready? All right, let's get busy with metric number 1, sales. So here it's called revenue run rate. Revenue run rate. So here, when we're talking about revenue run rate, this is the measure on how sales are developing over time. That's why they call it a run rate, over time. So it's not day one, only one day, it's over time. So it's going to help you to see, if you're hitting your forecast numbers, meaning like you projected how you intended to make money for the week based on your marketing versus if it's ads or organic reach or however, doing some offers or some promotions, right? And again, you want to look for trends. You want to look for patterns. If it's something that happens that's seasonal, like Black Friday or Easter or summer, there are things that may be more seasonal for some of us in our businesses than for other people. But what would that look like? In my case, as an educational consultant, right, my season is the school year for the most part. Now, that's not to say I don't have business in the summer, because actually I probably am even more busier in the summer. because that's a lot more professional development, a lot more free time. I can get access to more of the adults than I can maybe during the school year. So there's an opportunity for me for that. But again, you can kind of tease out some potential problems with your pricing strategies as well. So if you're looking for patterns in your sales. So here we have a calculation. You want to be able to track your sales for just by the month, and then for quarterly data, then you multiply times 4. So for instance, if you look at your sales, if you looked at your sales for the first month, and let's say you did, I don't know, let's say you did a round number, let's say you did $5,000 in sales. Okay. If that's over 4 weeks, right? That's over a period of time, and then look at it some daily rates, right? And you sold a bunch of products. Let's say you sold $5,000 in products for the first month. Then what you're going to do is say, okay, well, if I continue to do what I've been doing, then I can project that my quarterly sales can be 4 times that particular number. And then if I just kept doing the same thing, then I can multiply that times 12. Therefore, my run rate is going to be based on my revenue run rate for the month, for the quarter, and for the year are based on those calculations. That's what your sales revenue run rate, RRR. Alrighty, so that's metric number 1. Metric number 2, average revenue per user, ARPU. And don't try to memorize any of these people. And you may not need to use all of them, but just know, I want you just to understand these are just basic metrics. And here's the other thing. If you start to work with ad agencies, or you start working with the marketing agencies or marketing consultants, they're going to be asking you for these numbers. It's incumbent upon you to know your own numbers, just like in accounting for your book, for your first taxes, and you want to make sure that your transactions and everything. So you need to know your numbers. You're the business owner. No one should know the numbers better than you. And if you need help with that, get help. Get a virtual assistant, a bookkeeper, budget keeper, somebody to help you to make this happen. Okay. So annual revenue per user. So again, it measures a customer's average spend with you. A rising level means that you're getting more sales from each customer. So again, if, for instance, your customer comes back, buys for you the first day on launch day, right? And then again, a lot of it just depends on the products and the services that you're selling at. So for some, coming back often is good, right? Depending on the type of service that you have. If you're selling apparel or things that are consumables, this is where it makes more sense, okay? So for my product-based customers, start business owners, you're measuring a customer's average spend with you. So the first order might have been for $60, but then they come back and you might have run a special. Well, they're going to buy from you again. And so when you look at a collection of customers, what would the average spend be for a group of people in this window of time? So you're dividing the total revenue for that period of time. You can say for the week or for the month or the quarter, and you're dividing it by the customers in that same period of time. And that's going to give you your average revenue per user. Why is this important? Well, the reason why you want to do that is that you may have some customers who are more valuable than other customers. You may be able to offer them more higher priced products and services because they really like what you're doing. Or you may be able to extend to them something special that you wouldn't give to the people who may not be purchasing other things. So you want to be teasing out of those transactions. You want to be able to see what are certain people buying, those buying behaviors. When I send out a newsletter, are the same people clicking? Are the same people clicking? If they are, then that's a behavior, that's a pattern, right? So you may be able to look at another subset of individuals. So there's just different ways of looking at your data. But that's the basic one, average revenue per user. Make sense? And again, play with the numbers, do some what ifs, right? You know your minimum viable product, you know the pricing structures that you're putting in place. So when you say, okay, well, I'm going to have 100 people and 20 wanted to buy this and 20 do that and 20 buy this and 20 buy that and 20 buy this. Play with your numbers and do the probability so you can get into the habit of thinking about, okay, now how do I make that actually work? That's how you want to play with your numbers. This is the stuff that you should be working on right now as part of your pre-launch and working on your numbers and thinking about how I'm going to generate the revenue. Remember, your goal is how much money did you want to make? And now that you know that you have that minimum viable product and you got a price associated with it, and then some of those supporting products or services that you're surrounding and attaching to that minimum viable product, now you have to start figuring out how am I get to that number? And what are those patterns that I need to put? What are the promotions I need to do to get to my end goal and breaking that down? Okay, metric number 3. Now we're looking at customers. So a customer metric is going to be customer acquisition cost. So if you've ever watched Shark Tank, that is one of the primary customer questions that the sharks will ask the person in front doing the presentation. I know that Mark Cuban asks it all the time. So customer acquisition cost. How much is it going to cost you to attract a customer? Now you might be saying, well, what do you mean attracting a customer? Well, here's the point. If you spent money to pay for an ad, and in order for people to come to your landing page to make a purchase, and then of that, I'm going to give you this scenario. You're tracking how much it costs to attract the customer who then in turn spends money with you. So for a specific period of time, and then you're going to take the cost for marketing and your sales, and then you're going to divide that number of the customers you gained. So here's an example. I spent $500 on Facebook ads over a month, and it drew in 600 customers, new customers, meaning they were paying customers. So what did that cost of acquisition cost me? I don't know. Let's get the calculator out. Okay, so we pull out our calculator. I said it was $500 and I attracted 600. So I'm going to divide the cost for my marketing, which was 500, by the number of customers that I acquired, 600. So 500 divided by 600. It cost me 83 cents to acquire each of those customers. Not bad. Now, the reason why you want to know your cost of acquisition is you have to subtract that from your revenue, because that money was in the marketing, right? Because that's a cost. So you have to start work. Then now you're starting to see how all the numbers will start to jive with one another. So again, you want to calculate that. So another example, you spend $1,000 to get 20 customers. So your cost for acquisition is 50. So a rising cost for customer acquisition cost is a sign you're in trouble. But if you've introduced a new product with much higher margins, then you have to look at other metrics. So what I mean by that is, yes, it might cost me more to gain a customer, but they're buying a higher ticket item. That means I'm generating more revenue because I have a larger margin. So therefore, it may cost me more, but I'm selling a higher ticket item. So everything is kind of relative. So you always keep in mind. So the fact that in this first example that I had, where we did the $500 and I got 600 customers, and it only cost me 83 cents, right? And my product was a $7 item. Well, then now I say, well, then my real cost is 7 minus 83 cents. Oops, $7 minus 83 cents. So now I pocketed, if I cleared everything for all intents and purposes, my margin was $6.17. So these are the numbers you want to start thinking about. Customer acquisition cost, CAC. Next one. Metric number 4, customer retention rate. Now, in this particular case, it's kind of the opposite. Now that you got them as a customer, how are you able to keep them as a customer? So the cost for customers who stay with you or leave you. So in this particular case, this is a little different. I can tell you that it applies to both product and service oriented businesses, but it may be more relevant to like subscription models, is an example, where, because for instance, you are trying to keep them to paying that monthly fee every month, right? So there's a cost to retaining them. So what is that cost? Because there's always going to be a revolving door when you have in a model like a subscription or a membership. There's a percentage of people who are going to come in and people are going to go out. People are going to come in, people are going to come out. And so what will that number look like for you? So here's an example. I wrote one down for you guys. So in this particular case, the calculation is that you're subtracting the number of new customers from your total customers at the end of a given period. And then you're going to divide that number by the number of customers you started with from that period. That's your customer acquisition. Am I keeping more than I'm losing? Because again, it's a revolving door. So you have to think about it along those lines. So here's an example. If you started the month with 10 customers and you gained 5 new ones, now we're at 15, and then lost 2, now we're at 13, the calculation is 13 total customers for the end of the month. So then minus the 5, the new customers that you got for the period, which equals now to 8. Staying with me? Divide that by 10, is going to equal 0.8 or 80%. That means that your retention rate is 80%. You are keeping 80% of your customers for that given period of time. And the goal is to have your retention rate as high as possible. That is the goal for customer retention rate. I hope you found that to be helpful. Let's look at metric number 5. Ooh. Sorry. Customer lifetime value. Now, this is a little interesting. A customer lifetime value is one whose value to your business will grow over time through their purchases and through additional services. And then maybe even through some qualified referrals, because they're the people, because if you're really doing good with them, they're bringing more customers to you. They're talking about you because they love you. And it was like, you got to go over there and get your services from Jackie. Jackie is like amazing, right? And so that's going to increase your purchases, right? And then it becomes kind of a snowball effect. Well, that person's going to talk about you more because, again, you're getting both purchases and referrals. So that lifetime value customer is another great one. This is really great for my service-based people who are doing things like pet care and salons and massages and anything that's a little bit more service. Not to say you won't happen in products, because you could say, I love this outfit. They do the best in food, whatever, right? That's going to be your cost. So one good customer it can grow their value over time. So here's an example. Everybody ready? Okay. So the average annual sale for one customer, let's say, is $5,000. Okay. And when you think about it, you're like, that's a lot. No, it's not. It depends on your service and your business. Over a course of a year, somebody dropping $5,000 for one customer is not a lot. It's just not. Particularly for coaching and support and those other things, it's not a lot. Like if you get your hair, if you get your hair done weekly, that's not a lot. You're dropping at least $50. 52 weeks in a year. Let's see what that looks like. 52 weeks in a year and $50. That's at least 2,600 right there. People pay more. I'm just saying. You add all that other stuff together. Okay. All right. So let's just say for average, $5,000. Your annual growth rate, meaning that you're getting new customers, right, is 5%. And then your projected lifespan with that one customer in years is, say, you're going to be able to keep that customer for 10 years. Okay. Then your direct revenue. That means that, again, all of the revenue that that person gives you in 10 years over time and then exponential. All right. And then they may give you some referrals or the numbers of referrals. And then the total fee or per for those referrals is another $5,000. So then the total cost, the additional cost that I made from that person and those referrals was $10,000 in addition to what they were already bringing in the door. So then you're talking about lifetime value over 10 years is $72,000. That's not bad. So you're thinking about growth over time, and this is why you have to think about the long game and not the short game when it comes to going into business. I know everybody wants to make money on the first go, and you want it to be hot and popping, but you got to think long term. And so in doing so, it's important that you take all that into consideration. Okay. And of course, the more people that you can stick with you over a long period of time, you'll start to get the residual effects of that. Um, and those may have been considered, conservative, again, depending on your field and your industry. But again, it's just something that you should be mindful of. Here's the other reason for this. If you ever sell your business, they're going to want to know this number, just so you know. If somebody ever wanted to buy your business, you would need to be able to break this down. This is why it's important that you're in the habit of looking at your numbers from time to time and looking at these different metrics from time to time. Okay, now we're under finance. So metric number 6, return on advertising spending. So again, advertising spending is an investment in your business. And so you have to be able to generate a return for that. You're always thinking, okay, well, I'm putting money out because I need to draw money in. Okay, that's the whole point of doing this, is you're financing your business. So that's what marketing is going to do for you. You're investing in your business by way of advertising, and that's how that's going to work for you. So if you divide, so in this particular case, advertising spending is an investment. So you have to know that you need to invest in your business just like you invest in yourself. So you can't be going on the cheap. I know we were a little hesitant at the very beginning, and that's normal, but give faith in yourself and what you're doing to do. And if you plan like you did and you made all the right decisions at the front end, you won't hesitate when it comes to doing the investments on the back end. Guaranteed. All right. So here in this particular case, it's pretty simple. In this case, you're just dividing your sales generated by your advertising costs. That's it. So again, here's an example. I think I got it down here for you. So if you spent $15,000, right, on advertising costs, then and it resulted in $30,000 in sales, then your return on advertising spend is 2, right? Because you generated 2 for every one you spent. Give me one sec. Did that make sense? Let me go back with respect to that. Sorry. So again, return on advertising spend. So you have to think about if it's going to cost me to advertise, I got to make sure that I have my product and my services and my landing pages, everything is tight so that when I spend the money, I have everything lined up and in order so that it's a successful advertising. And I'm going to get the return on that by way of generating more sales than I would have had I not advertised. That's the whole point. You're financing your business by way of advertising and investing in your business to draw more customers in so that they're going to spend more money. So again, you may start with a limiting budget to begin with, and then over time you will increase it. So start small, move forward. You don't have to spend a lot of money either to have good effective ads, by the way. So I have a marketing coach, and she tells me that all the time. You don't have to spend a lot of money, but you got to do the right things to set up in order for the ads to work right. It's a process, and you'll get to learn that as well. And the last metric is your margin. Now, this is an important one because the bottom line is everything. So when we're thinking about margins, right, before you spend more, you have to make sure your business is where you are and in that you have put in the formula, you're accounting for all of your expenses. And if you're doing so, that you put enough buffer, what we call margin, or basically add-on cost to your expenses so that you're going to be able to make the profits that are necessary. That's what your margins are. So your revenue must exceed your cost for your goods or your operating expenses. If not, it's no time to increase. You can't increase time. Time is time. So you're going to pull back on your spending, obviously, if your margins and your revenue costs are not exceeding your operating costs. So you want to make sure money coming in is enough to cover costs and some, right? And we did that calculation earlier when we were thinking about how much money do I need to make based on my minimum viable product and my and what does that involve, and then what is the cost of creating that product or service, and again, how much margin based on industry. You kind of want to stay within the industry standards and make enough profit that when you're selling something, you're making money. Otherwise, it's a little counterproductive, honestly. So you need to make sure that your margins are tight and working for you. And of course, you want to keep track of your sales and your progress, right? Don't turn your back on the figures. They may not look pretty, and it's okay, but you got to look them straight in the eye. It's like, damn, either I'm doing really good or I got some work to do. So you want to just kind of plan to have financial meetings with yourself, your bookkeeper, budget keeper, your accountant, having those financial meetings, or just setting aside some time just for yourself, by yourself. Okay, Tuesday mornings is my or Monday mornings could be my money Monday mornings, right? It's just a time to look at all my numbers, break them all down, look at all the receipts, run my reports, give it all down, and just look it all out and just say, how is it working for me? If you're not comfortable doing any of that, then you need to get somebody who can do it for you and at least give you some feedback. But if you're in business for yourself, you've got to be able to run these numbers and understand them because it's your business. And just getting into that habit. And again, just put it on your calendar and schedule it as a task that you're going to do with yourself each day, right? Not just the time that you're paying bills, but it could be that you just do them all at the same time. Whatever works for you, but come up with a process that's going to help you to progress monitor you and your money. Any questions on that? Please make sure that you can post them here inside of the live Facebook group. And you also can contact us via email or direct message me inside of Facebook if you have any additional questions. In the meantime, your action steps are your quick win. What's in your business banking account right now? Is it what you expected when you get down to launching your business? And then you want to be able to choose any of those metrics that are going to help you to stay focused and monitoring the progress and things that are working and what's not working and making the necessary changes. And again, get a coach, get a mentor, get a consultant, whatever's going to make it happen so that you can do this successfully and feel comfortable with the efforts that you're making. That's what's really going to be important for you. So you don't want to spend a lot of time wasting time that you don't want to do. Okay. All righty. Let's get into lesson 12. Tonight we are on and popping. And when we're thinking about lesson 12, it's just about moving forward. I wanted us to have this time to really think about how you're putting these systems in place so that you can plan effectively, that you can save time, and you can reduce stress. So that's what we want to talk about in this particular segment. So let's take a look. So here again, in lesson 12, our objective is how can you learn to put those systems in place, things that we've already talked about? How is it that you can make the plans necessary? How can you save some time, be productive? How can you reduce the stress for being in business and you're not freaking out? Now, for many of you, you're doing this in a transitional way, incrementally. You're starting it from a side hustle. You're starting as you're working your full-time business, and then you're setting aside time every day working your part-time business until you're in a position where you can make the transition happen. And I am 100% in agreement with that. So how are you also going to determine what your next step should be? And so let's just have the conversation, because it's important that you start thinking about what are some of the necessary things that are going to help you to get you through this, so that you're doing this routinely and you're running your business and operating everything on a daily, right? So step one, you first want to plan your time. So one of the biggest problems that I've seen for most people who are starting their business is that the business is running them and they're not running their business. It can be considered all-consuming. So you want to be able to have some harmony and some balance in your life and be able to set aside things so that you can work as productively as you possibly can. And of course, it's understandable at the very beginning, you're just giving your heart and your soul into it, and you're giving real heavy focus into it, but don't lose a sense of self in making sure that things are not going to like have you burning the candle on both ends. You don't want that. So 100% focus is also something that is going to be critical. So here are a few tips. One is, again, set yourself up some regular work hours for yourself. What are those hours? How do you see working your business? If you're working full time and you're also starting this as your side business, then are there these things you're going to work in the morning before you go to work? Then you're going to do a little bit after work. You're going to set aside so many hours. You need to come up with a schedule. The next thing, oops, sorry. Coming up with your schedule. You want to have some social time. You want to have some outlets. Put it on your calendar. Every day can be a work day. Excuse me. So what is that looking like? You also want to start considering outsourcing. As you start to become more profitable and you start getting the work in, there's an opportunity for you to leverage your time, and that you're able to hand off things that may not be a good use of your time and giving it out to someone else, like a virtual assistant or a part-time staff person. If you're getting contracts, you may want to think about how I could start to bring other staff on who have similar skills as you do in consultancy, and that I can profit from bringing on a consultant, and rather than me trying to do everything. That's what consultancy type agencies do. So you want to think of it along those lines. When I get contracts and it's a large scope for a contract, then yes, I may not do any of the billables or any of the deliverables. I might just put staff out there but my margins are such that I can pay my consultants and I'm going to profit from that. So I'm able to do that type of an outsourcing as well, doing my leverages. That's what true entrepreneurship is when you're not doing the worky work. You're working and running the business, but you're not the business in a sense. That's what you're really striving for. Um, and then, of course, there's some rewards for yourself. You spend a lot of time, you spend a lot of energy on projects. You need to be able to, reward yourself, building little things that are going to keep you motivated as well. And of course, get the help if you need help. Um, get coaching. Get it because you don't have to have a coach that's going to be there every day. You may have somebody who's just going to, again, it's about accountability. And so, if you haven't already done so, I certainly welcome the opportunity to serve as your business coach. We have different offers and packages available for you that you can do that meets your budget and your time restrictions, or I could say constraints. So look inside of the Facebook group for that, and inside of this course, you're going to see a link for that if you want to go in that particularly. But get the help that you need. Get outsourcing as well, and then being efficient, finding the tools that's going to help you to do the work that's necessary. There's cool tools all over the place. I've given you, if you haven't already done so, you're going to get a sheet that has lots of tools and resources that you could use and apply to help you run your business more productively and make you more profitable at the same time. So you have those opportunities to think about as well. Okay? Oops. And then planning also gives you a sense of control about how you're spending your time. You could be working all night all the time. That's not good. And you have to start thinking about, how is that helping me be better in working my business? And am I paying myself enough at the same time? But feeling in control will help you feel less stressed when you have the systems in place. And it's going to make you more effective in working your business as well. So just know that, just put a plan in place. If you don't have a planner, you don't have a tool, choose something that's going to help you in the managing of your time and getting the things done that necessarily need to be done. Like I said, Asana, Trello, Basecamp, anything. Pick a tool, any tool, but pick one and commit to it. So what can a planning system look like? So like I said, there are some online tools that are available. Like I said, tons and tons out there. Evernote is one. The to-do list is another. There's another one called OmniFocus. I haven't used it myself, but a lot of people suggested it to me, so I said I'm going to include it in this thing. But again, find out what works best for you. You can even just use file folders and just using your Google and a paper pen. Some people like paper planners and they like doing things manually. Do whatever works for you, but come up with a system. That's going to work. I like to use Asana for my planning and mapping because it sets reminders to myself. I can get feedback. I can send my comments and my notes. I can drop my ideas in there, everything. So just pick something that's going to work for you. But pick a planning system. Okay. And then again, your daily planning. What are the things that you want to do, your regular tasks that you're going to do? You want to get those kind of distractors out of the way during those windows of time. You may want to structure so that I'm going to just do 90-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks and do certain tasks in those windows of time. Different strategies that are out there that you could utilize. And again, some of those planners are built in with that in mind. So keep that. But what's your daily routines going to look like for yourself? And then again, weekly planning throughout the year. You're going to have a different type of a chart for the week. Things that Mondays and Tuesdays are always going to be these, or Fridays and Saturdays are the times I sit down and I map out my social media and I hand off tasks to my assistant. So again, think about the weekly tasks that are going to be done throughout the year. And also you have to think about things down the road, right? You have to think about further out, not just 1 week out, but weeks out. So you want to planning throughout the year. What are those repeat things that are weekly and monthly, whatever works. But put it somewhere so you're going to be able to see them all the time. note action strategies you're taking towards the goals. What are the things that you're doing that is going to help you to get closer to your monthly goal, financial or otherwise, your quarterly goals, and your annual goals? You want to start checking them off as you're doing them. And then automation is the key to saving time. Cool tools that are out there: automate your accounting, automate your billing systems. Those are critical. There's many things that you can put into place. You do a little investing of time on the front end, but you can set it and forget it. And so those are some of the things, like using QuickBooks is another one. I connect all. I have one business transaction. My e-commerce, everything's coming through there. My banking is coming through there. Everything goes through my QuickBooks and is automated. And all I have to do is go in there and run reports and do checks. I do payroll through there, everything. So automation with your accounting and your billing payments are like minimal that you should have, in addition to your calendar, your project management tool, minimal. Okay. So try those out. And I have tips and links for you inside of the group and inside of your book if you're using this as an e-course. Other things to automate, if you haven't already done so, we did this in the bonus. One was appointment schedulers. I highlighted how you can use Appointee. Another one is organizing your documents. You've got things like Google Docs or Dropbox. How are you going to organize documentation as you're creating products and services and you're designing and things along those lines? And again, your project and your team, if you start bringing on teams, your Trello and your Asana. Think about systems to help you automate. Automation saves you time. Okay, and then of course, we start where we were at the beginning about goals. And so here, it's very simple. And you've seen this more than once. I know you have if you've been with me. And so again, you want to create SMART goals. Your SMART goals are going to be, and you would have already done this if you've already been through your one-on-ones with me. You're going to create your annual goal, your big goal, your big rock. And then what is it? How are you going to be specific? It has to be measurable. It needs to be achievable. It needs to be relevant, and it needs to be timely. And walking through that, you just want to be clear. You just don't want to say, "Oh, I want to make $1 million." Well, how do you think you're going to do that in a year? And your minimum viable product is a $2 item. Not going to happen. So you want to be realistic, and you want to be able to set those things up. Again, how are you wanting to get to your monetary goals? How do you want to get to your lifestyle goals? Right? And making those things happen. And then again, how that SMART goal can get on your vision board. So you want to set a goal every 12 months annually, and then you want to have your intervals in between. It's your monthly and your quarterly goals, and breaking those all down. And then each time you're doing things daily, you should be saying, well, how is that going to affect the goal that I'm making? You want to work those pieces out too. Okay, those are kind of like your backward mapping. Set your big goal, and then how you get a big chunking it down. And those are the things that you work out with your coach and your mentor and making sure that is. So for instance, too, that way you're not feeling as though you're out of control, because you're always aiming for something and it helps you to stay in control of the things that are going to be important to you, so that you are getting where you want to go. So all those metrics and everything else are going to help you in how is that in alignment to these annual and monthly goals. So other goals that you want to set over periods of time are how many customers do you want to take on, right? That's part of the goals. It may be how many minimal viable products do you want to sell? When do you want to pass from a minimum viable product to maybe a full product launch? You may want to grow your minimum viable product into a system product, right? You can be big and large in your charge. Of course, you've covered a lot of ground already in this course, in this master class, and you may not have gotten it down to delve into everything all at once. That's totally, totally fine. No pressure. But what you now have is information. You are way more informed. You're way more comfortable. You should be way more confident knowing what you know now that you didn't know 5 weeks ago. And I'm hoping that if nothing else, you got that much out of this course. You should get out more, obviously, but minimally, you have way more knowledge and confidence and skills, right, that are going to make you so that you can go back to the other modules and all the other lessons, go through that, and now you'll be able to. And then if you haven't done a one-on-one with me, if you're part of a live group and you've um, masterclass, then make sure you get that done this week so that you too can set the goals that you want to have in place for yourselves. Any questions with that? Again, please, if you're in an e-course, direct message me, send me an email. Love to engage with my e-course takers, as well as if you're in my live group, then put them inside of the Facebook private group that we have and post them. Or you too can direct message me as well. So with that said, that was, let me get you here. Hold on one second. So again, identify the planning task that you want that's going to help you the most, and then go over everything that we've covered so far in the course. And again, we'll be going to switch back and get everything and do a review one-on-one with me so that you'll have that. Okay. All righty. And now let's take us back. So that is going to be the conclusion of, where are we at? That's concluding Module 5. And we will be back a little later in Module 6 after next week. So I hope you found this segment to be helpful for you guys. It's a lot to digest. I know, it's so exciting though, right? You're getting so much closer. You're already talking about a launch day. Like, what? I know, it's like super duper excited. I'm so excited for each and every one of you. Please know that always reach out to me so that I'm meeting your needs. And if myself or one of my assistants is able to support you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, do know that that's what we're here to do. So without a further ado, let's get busy. Take care, everybody.